Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 23 of the Soup Podcast. Alrighty. We have a very special guest. Emily, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Do you want to talk about your soup, what you brought on?
Oh, yeah. So I brought this pickle soup.
Oh.
I saw this recipe on a TikTok. It's like a Polish recipe.
Okay.
And I love pickles, so I was like, I'm going to try it. I think it's pretty good. It's got like potatoes and carrots and like pretty typical soup stuff in it.
Okay.
They also recommended like drizzling it with sriracha if you're into that.
I do like sriracha.
I love sriracha personally. And it makes it look pretty when you do like the little swirl.
Yeah.
I think that's fun, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fancy.
Yeah.
It smells super good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do first bite
Yeah,
without
that's
sriracha.
fair.
It smells very pickly. That's very good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like overwhelming.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go. It's really good. Actually, wait. No, I'm gonna do some with sriracha too.
Yeah. Don't rate it until you try the
Yeah.
what it recommended. With the potatoes, that's really good.
Mhm.
I love potatoes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's what sriracha is
No, I tried with sriracha. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
it's
super good. It's still super good. I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
good. Wow. Okay.
Very good.
Solid.
Very unexpected too, so that
Yeah.
adds points.
I
I've
wish
never
I
had pickle
remembered
soup.
the creator's name, but props to that person
Yeah.
for the
The
recipe.
pickle soup is awesome.
Yeah.
You could probably type in pickle soup on TikTok and
Yeah.
find it or something.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
So, yeah.
There may not be many videos.
No, I
out
don't think there was.
Yeah. Pickle soup. Yeah, I was.
One specific.
This is the first time I've ever heard of pickle soup at all.
I
didn't
would
really-
never. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about you just went on a trip, right?
Yeah. So I just got back from Iceland. I was living there for the month of October. I went for an artist residency, which I think like when I tell people that, they're like confused by what that means. Like people think it means like I'm going to school or like
Oh yeah.
I'm going for work or something, but it's like kind of in the middle.
Right. That makes
Um,
sense. Because you're not. From my best way of explaining what a residency is, it's like you're not going there to be taught how to do something. You're there to use their space and create what it is you want to create. Right? Is that like?
Yeah, yeah. And like I picked Iceland because I wanted, sort of that more like isolated. It's sort of like a way of like giving yourself time to make something. And like usually like you have to, or at least like for this one that I did, I had to propose like a specific project that I was going to work on.
Okay.
So it's like you're going to this studio with like a piece or a project in mind. And they're just there to like help you facilitate that, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw the video with was it the porcelain worms? Is that what it was?
Yes.
So could you explain? Because I'll put that in the video. Could you explain, like, elaborate on that video a little bit?
Yeah. So I made this stop motion animation while I was in Iceland. Basically, I sculpted like hundreds of these like porcelain worms out of porcelain, but and I made this video. So it's kind of like about like death and like regeneration, so I just like wanted to use the worms as like a symbol because they're like kind of a big part in that like cycle. And also like I'm like inspired by music a lot, and I love Radiohead, so they have this song called Weird Fishes, and there's this line about like getting picked over by the worms. And I just thought that was like really beautiful, so I was just like thinking about worms a lot. I was like, I'm gonna make some worms.
Why not?
Yeah, for real.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. It was an interesting video. It looked like it was really like wherever you were. I mean, not that we saw like the huge surrounding, but it looked like it was a pretty area, like very clean and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I really wanted to like kind of capture the landscape in that video, but when you do stop motion, it's really important that you like control the lighting because you can see that through the pictures. So the background is actually fake. I like brought all the rocks and stuff inside and like laid it out on the
Nice.
ground. And
That's cool.
So it's like it is pieces of the landscape, but it's like I assembled it.
Right.
Yeah.
You honestly, you could have like not told us that, and we wouldn't
Yeah.
have had like
Yeah.
any idea. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like
That's
turned out
great to hear.
nice.
Yeah.
You fooled us there.
It is to me. So.
Yeah.
I think Mike has got some questions too, kind of about like the art and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess see, we talked about Ireland. Oh, so what made you like pick Ireland? Was that like the first residency that you kind of found that to apply to, or I guess what was the process in finding that specific residency?
Yeah, so I picked that one, which was in Iceland, because so I teach adult sewing classes, and I had this student in my class who had spent a lot of time in Europe. She like just moved back from like Sweden, and she had a friend who had gone to this residency, and she was like, you should check it out. And I was like kind of at a point in my life where I was like, I need to do something crazy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I never left the country. I was like, okay, I'll just apply to this residency that this person told me about. And I got in, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to Iceland. Why not?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Cool. And how was all the traveling? Did it feel safe? And I know it was kind of hectic trying to get your passport and everything, but you did get it in time, which was good.
Yeah.
How was all the traveling back and forth?
So it was fine. So like on the way there, I almost missed my flight to Iceland because I had like an hour layover, but then the flight before was delayed. So like I got off the flight. I had to take 3 planes there.
Okay.
And when I got off the second flight, it was like 5 minutes until they were about to take off. So I'm like running through the Toronto airport. I honestly didn't think I was going to make it, but then somebody stopped me and they're like, are you going to Iceland? I was like, yeah. Like they were waiting for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was the last person on the plane. So I was like,
Oh, gosh.
God.
That's so stressful.
But then they lost my luggage, so
Oh,
I didn't
no.
have clothes for like 3 days,
Oh, jeez.
which it was fine.
Yeah.
But then on the way back, I had a 15-hour layover in Germany, and and it was overnight, and I was like, it was like the end of my trip, so I was like kind of running out of money, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay in the airport overnight,
Yeah.
which was fine, but like there's just like a lot of like homeless people sleeping in there, and just like I'm just gonna stay awake, and
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Better safe than sorry.
right.
Jeez. That's nuts.
It'd be different too, like especially being, I don't know, probably one of the, maybe not the only American in there, but like one of very few. And so it's like you're in this foreign airport. and
Right.
I don't really speak your language that much, and I'm also not from here, so.
Yeah, and there were like cops like walking through, and they were like kicking some of the people out. But like if you had like luggage, they would like kind of leave you alone because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, this person's supposed to be in here. But yeah, there were some like tense fights between.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
Nice.
Jeez.
yeah. It was like I just
What
can't
is
wait to
this?
get on my plane.
Yeah.
yeah.
So have you ever traveled outside of the country prior to this?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was my first time, and it was by myself, which I'm like, I'm so cool.
Heck yeah, man. I
Yeah.
think you're cool for doing that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's a, nerve-wracking experience, but you made it, and that's awesome. Now you can say you did it.
Right.
And if you ever wanted to do it again,
Right.
you can.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think I need to start looking at more places. I really want to go to like Scotland. Japan would be crazy cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
I think Iceland was like a good pick for like the first time because their culture is pretty similar to ours, and almost everybody speaks English.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't like really a big culture shock, and it wasn't hard to communicate, but like, those are things I'd have to consider when
Right.
going
No,
somewhere else.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
good. Cool beans. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pickles. Let's see. So we've talked about how you found that residency there. Let's see. We kind of talked about your stop motion a little bit, so that was pretty cool. But since being back, so you were there the whole month of October. You've been back for month now, because it's December technically. And since being back, what do you value most from your time there? Is there anything that you feel like you gained from that experience, or anything that you appreciate from doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, like, just, I feel like I gained perspective. Like, before I left, I sort of, like, had all these insecurities about, like, where I'm supposed to be in life and, like, what success means and, like, all that. And then I get there and I'm, like, surrounded by these artists who are, like, I think there was only one artist that was younger than me. Everybody else was, like, older.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just cooler. It was just cool to, like, be around those people and be, like... But yeah, just to like see people who have like similar paths, and it's just like, oh, it's okay, and I'm really rad that I'm doing this right now. So it's like, yeah.
That's
Did you
pretty cool.
talk to any of them that were like kind of, I guess, in the same boat of like, I just wanted to mix things up, go do something crazy, and
Yeah, so honestly, a lot of the people that were there kind of do residencies a lot. Like there was this one girl who, like, I guess in Canada they give a lot of artist grants. She was given like $20,000 or something crazy like that, and she'd just been like hitting different residencies over and over.
That's insane.
I'm trying to be like that. You know,
man.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But
That's cool.
that was cool. Come here, Lou.
What was the let's see, I guess out of all the people there that you were with, what was the like most interesting artist like that you came across, or what was the most intriguing artist or media that someone worked with, if that makes sense?
there was this one girl, she was a photographer. She, like, being around her was just cool because she was so bold. Like, she had no problem just, like, going up to people and being, like, she, like, hit all the farms in town.
Oh, yeah?
She got on a fisherman's boat, and, like, so
That's neat.
they would sail overnight, so she had to get on this boat, and it was, like, for, like, 13 hours. Because once you're on the boat, you can't get off the boat.
Okay, yeah.
And she said she was throwing up the entire time.
Oh.
Like, every, like, 30 minutes, she would have to puke because she was so seasick because, you know, you're, like, hours out into the ocean. And
Jeez.
just for, like, 5 pictures or something, you know? But, like, just, like, seeing how, like, the things that she would do for her art is just really cool and inspiring.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Did you get any tips from any of them there that were, like, maybe it was, like, something that made you think twice, or it was just kind of like, oh, you know, I never thought of it that way, you know, and integrate that into whether it's, like, your life or your work?
Definitely, like, personal stuff, like, my life, like, like, the girl who, like, was traveling a lot and was, like, on that grant, she was sort of just, like, you know, like, you're cool, like, you are, like, better than you think you are, and, like, you can, like, do a lot, so, like, I don't know, just, I think it helped me, like, gain confidence a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, being around people and then being like, you're, like, supposed to be here is just really nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Was there anything that was, like, I don't know, that really stuck out to you aside from art, whether it was just, like, because I know you said the culture was pretty similar to ours. Was there anything, though, that, like, blatantly stuck out between them and us?
I think they're more spiritual.
Yeah.
Like, there was this guy in town who, he said that he saw ghosts, and, like, he would just see people everywhere that were no longer in our plane or whatever. The studio, so we had a house, and then down the block, our studio was separate, and it used to be, like, a fish factory or
Oh, really?
whatever you would call that. And he said that there was a fisherman that was haunting the place, which, if,
Maybe.
I mean, if you believe it, probably.
Right.
You know? And also they believe in things like hidden people, which are, like, to my understanding, they're, like, kind of like elves, and they think that,
Really?
yeah, that they, like, do things that, like, affect, like, the weather and, like, the animals and stuff like that. Like, if something weird happens, they're like, oh, it was the hidden people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever have, like, or I guess anyone at the residency, any of you guys, like, come across something that made you think maybe it was the elves, or maybe there is a ghost
Yeah.
here, or something like that?
Not
Any
the
kind of
elves,
encounters?
but definitely the ghosts. Like,
Yeah.
we would be in the studio late, and the freezer, or what used to be the freezer, was like where we had our projector, and you would hear like, which it could have been the weather, it could have been, you know, all these
Yeah.
thing, but maybe it was the fisherman knocking on the freezer door.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a normal podcast now.
Yeah.
Mentioning that.
Right.
That'd just be freaky.
That's nuts.
weird.
I don't
That's
know how
cool.
I'd take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be nuts. Like, in your house, was it like...
It wasn't in the house, it was
your,
in the studio.
Your house was good. Your studio was haunted, but the house was not, I guess.
Not that I'm aware.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no encounters in the house. That's good. Not where you slept.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep there if that was the case.
Was
Goodness.
there any of them that had like been there before? Like this was like their second or third time coming back?
Some people were there like the month before. So like some people would stay for several months. So I got there and there were people who were like had already been there for a month.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody that had like been and then left and then come back. Though apparently people do that sometimes.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Um,
So there's potentially a chance that you could go back there if you wanted to try it again?
yeah, and I definitely want to. I don't know if I want to go back to that residency, but I definitely want to go back to Iceland just because I didn't get the chance to like do the sightseeing
Oh, yeah.
things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Nice.
the elves.
Yeah, and I didn't see the aurora either.
Oh, really?
Man.
Yeah, I was bummed about that.
Was it, I guess, is there like a specific area you have to be in to see them?
Yeah,
4
and there's
hours,
like a
or-
time of the year, which
Yeah.
apparently October is normally a really good time, and you could kind of see it. Like people saw it, but it was like when I saw it, it wasn't like colorful. Like you could see where it was.
I gotcha.
There was like like a gray wave in the sky, and it was like kind of moving, but it was really faint. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like the blues and greens like you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a bummer. That would be cool to go see, though.
It was still
That would be
like
sick.
even when I saw it, it was still beautiful, but I just
Yeah.
wish it was like intense,
Right,
Yeah.
the full force of all the colors
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be nice. Mm-hmm.
So, you went to NKU.
Yeah.
You went to NKU.
That's where we met. Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to NKU. This is a
You are.
full NKU
Yeah.
Go North.
going right here.
Yeah.
So, what led you to go to NKU? Is it just kind of like like this is the school? Whereas maybe like I don't know, for me like it was like, well, this is the closest school. So
Yeah, that was
Good
part
option.
of it. I knew that I wanted to study art, and my dad had gone to the art academy, and I'd like, done tours there and stuff, and that was like it seemed cool. But then I also was like doing music as well, so I played in orchestra. I played the violin, and I had the potential. I got a music scholarship at NKU, so that was like part of my decision to go there. It was really about money because between my academic and my music scholarship, it like covered it. And at first I was like, oh, maybe I can do art and music. I didn't end up doing both because it was too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like kind of part of it. Just like, I think at university, you get there's a lot more options.
Right.
So that was like part of it.
Versus like going to the art academy where it's very
Yeah.
just one theme kind of going on, I guess. In a
Yeah.
sense, that makes sense. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That's neat.
Yeah.
did you have any what kind of experience did you have in the past? I guess with art before going to NKU.
So, my dad's an artist. He is a sculptor, costume designer, does all sorts of stuff. His parents are artists. So it's kind of like in the family. I guess it was just always there. I never really considered anything else. I mean, like, when I was, like, little, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a doctor or something. But, like, it was really just always, like, about art. That's, like, all I really...
Yeah.
Like, when people ask me, like, what are your hobbies? It's like, I don't have hobbies. I just do art. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. What's your passion and motivation for art making? And it's okay if there's not like a definitive answer or anything like that. I know it's always kind of different for everybody.
I think I just, like, find inspiration from seeing, like, what other people do. It's just, like, crazy to, like, see somebody take all of these like random materials and things and create something that's like that means something.
Right.
I think like when I decide I'm gonna like make a project, almost always it's because I saw something and I was like, holy shit, like I can make something like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's all about inspiration for me, like, and it doesn't even have to be like visual art. It could be like I said, like I find inspiration from music a lot, or like
Right.
books that I read.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's nice. And I guess to kind of follow that, as far as like what media you work with, is there like a very specific media that you are drawn to yourself for most of your work, or do you find that when you're inspired by something and you go to make something and create, does the media change with what message you're trying to come across with, like portray, I guess, or is it the theme or the message change with the media? Does the media affect what the theme is, what the message is?
It definitely changes. I think I bounce back and forth between illustration and sculpture, because I love like children's books and like that sort of like aesthetic, and I love like childhood motifs. I like to use those a lot in my work. But then also with the sculpture, it's sort of about like those it being an object, and like dolls and like other, it still like goes with the whole like childhood thing. But like when I went to Iceland, I was like thinking about like how can I kind of marry the object with the illustration, and I'm like sort of like wanting to like move more towards into like video and things like that, like telling a story but like still being able to like create my sculptures and use them for that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah. So do you have any like ideas of what you want to do next? Like, or do you have anything as far as like art making wise that you're kind of coming up with, or just kind of going with the flow at the moment? There's no wrong answer there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I have some ideas. I have some things working in my mind. I think next I'm gonna be making more like costume prop type objects to make videos with. I think it's gonna be a lot of like paper mache heads and hands and things like that. And yeah.
That'll be neat.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Cool beans. Let's see. One question I did want to ask you. Out of are the artworks that you've made, or the art shows that you were a part of, whether it being back in NKU, from the things that we had to apply to get our work in, or your own senior show, or the art shows that you've been a part of like outside of college, is there a favorite art show or favorite piece that you've made that's been put into a show that would be like, this is the one I'm most proud of, or something like that?
That would probably be the like pink dog girl with the Fruit Loops that I made.
Yeah.
Just because that was like the most intense thing that I've ever made. It was the most processes. And then I got it into, I didn't get to go to the show because it was in New York and it just didn't work with my schedule at the time for me to visit the gallery. But I got it into the show at Colorworks in New York, and it was like a food themed show, and it looked really, like I saw pictures, it looked just super cute and fun. But yeah, that's probably the piece that I'm most proud of.
Nice.
Honestly, mostly just that Fruit Loops bowl.
Yeah,
I'm
it looks
proud.
really cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to put like a picture of it on the video or whatever when you're going to do it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Sick. It's really cool. And I like that. That's a good piece.
Yeah, thanks.
And I remember seeing the pictures that you shared from the actual show, and I was like, oh no, and you had like a big porcelain cake in that show as well, right?
Yeah.
I was like looking through, and then it was just like this huge table of just foods and desserts, and it was like, where's Emily's? Where's Emily's? And I was like, oh, there it is. It's like one of the biggest cakes on the whole spread.
That's cool.
And it was super neat looking. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I think they had a picture of your bunny person, but I remember you shared it on your own page, so I was like, It's just really cool.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's neat. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna ask some non-art. This is seasonal questions.
Okay.
There we go.
Cold season, winter season, Christmas season. So, what are your thoughts on Christmas music being played right after Halloween?
I hate it.
You do?
I hate Christmas music. Okay. There are some
She loves
exceptions.
Christmas music.
Yeah.
The thing for me is it just gets stuck in your head so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm just trying to go about my day.
Yeah.
That's true. That's fair.
Then you get Mariah Carey busting out in your back of your head.
There are a few hits that I'm like, all right, that's cool. But I'm not the type of person that is like listening to it while I drive, or
Yeah.
I'll like go to the store and they're playing it. I'm like,
That's understandable.
What about like? Are you like a big Christmas person in general?
I like Christmas. I like getting like presents for people. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
That's like more exciting to me than getting presents. I think is just like, I'm gonna open my present.
Right.
Yeah.
See your reaction.
I want to
Yeah.
make sure you like this.
That's true.
kind of-
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always fun doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when they open it and they're like, "Oh man, I was wanting this," and you're like, "Yeah, okay,
I know.
You know what I'm doing." So
It's like,
Yeah.
I got you.
yeah. What about like? Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, Gremlins.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, that is a Christmas movie. I'm not saying it's not, but that's a different take.
Yeah.
Very unique take.
I love it. I
wouldn't
mean,
expect
like,
that.
obviously, like, The Grinch is great. I love Elf. But, like,
Mhm.
it's a cute little Mogwai. And then all these, like, evil gremlins. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to say like your Instagram profiles, or like if you have any other profiles you want to shout out real quick or anything?
Yeah. So you could follow me on Instagram or TikTok. They're both Celestial Blinks. Those are my main social media platforms.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for bringing the pickle soup.
That was
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Really good soup.
I might have to get the recipe when you make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. It was
Yeah.
much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It was great.
absolutely.